So we are back for the tutorial 4. We are starting with the Python basics. What is the minimum that you should know to get started with the data analysis? So let's get on it right now. This is my repository. I'll put the link in the description below. You can clone it. I showed you how to clone in the previous tutorial in the managing your projects with GitHub. I'll put the link in the description. You can clone this repository, and then I have already cloned that repository, so I'll go ahead and start the terminal kernel. So I'm already inside this folder. I'll show you what are the items are. So we have Python basics.ipynd. So I'll initialize this notebook. Python basics. As soon as I'll hit enter, it will initialize the Jupyter notebook for this particular task. And these are the 10 things you should know about Python before getting started with data analysis. So zoom it a bit. So now we have first part we'll go through is how to declare a variable, list or dictionaries. This is very important, so we'll look into it. So we'll execute the code step by step. I already put together a notebook for this, and I'll hit shift plus enter. So what it does is you don't have to declare data type for variable. It's not necessary. You can simply write this will be considered as int basically, and if I am talking about strings, then you can declare strings directly or with single quotes or double quotes. Both are fine. We'll dive into that later, when to use single or double quotes. Then to print it, just type print and then execute it. So we have this. Then if we want to know what type of variable is this, then type an x. So it's an integer in order. Now how to declare list. This is like we can declare the list with the square brackets or two open brackets, or we can fill something in between. So I'll show you that. So I executed it and see it's the type of list. If I have to fill something, then these are the elements. If I want to fill into the list, so I can declare it like this. You can see that the elements are here. Index in Python starts from 0. So if you want to access the elements of the list, it's done through open brackets and then the index number. So if I want to access the 0th element, which is 1, so I'll type y and then bracket 0. If I have to select from and to index in the list, then the n2, this 2 won't count. So basically if you are typing 1:3, then 1 and 2 will be printed, not the third one. So here the index number at index 1 we have 2, at index 2 we have 3, at index 3 we have 4. So 4 will not be printed, and only 2 and 3 will be printed. So, and then if you have to find the length of the list, basically how many elements are there in the list, then simply type len and then y. So if you want to add those numbers up, then you can all the numbers in the list, then you can simply type sum of y. So you can get 15 here. Adding some selected numbers, so you can type all the indexes. So yeah, I typed 1:4, so 1:4, and we have so if I have to access the last element of the list, I can type -1 or the index from the 0. So it's usually accessible to type -1. And accessing the last x elements, so any number of elements you want to access from the last, so you can access it with minus. So if I want to access the last two numbers, so I'll type -3 to -1. Then you can make a list of strings as well. It's not about just numbers. So if I want to make strings, so I initialize this. To join all these strings together, you can put anything into the double quotes here and dot join and then the list name. So it has combined it into a sentence and it has displayed it. So suppose if I want to join it by percentage, then I can do this as well. So if you want to access the characters of the strings in the list, access the particular element, and then access the index. Example, if I want to access machine in let machine talk, then I will. So let machine talk is the last element of this list. So I'll access it with y string in -1. I'll execute it. So you have this. Then you have to access further from 4 is to 11, because 4 and 11 are the indexes of the position of m until e. So as soon as I hit this, I can select the machine as well. If I only want to access let, then I can start off with 0 is to 3, because 0th position, it starts from 0 and then it continues to 3 zeros. So you can see here. Then if you want to access first few or last few letters, you don't have to specify index, as we are supposed to. Suppose I want to select the whole string after m, I don't have to specify the ending as well. I don't have to put any number here, just simply leave it blank. It will select the rest of the list, the rest of the indexes on its own. So and then all the methods that you can use on the list, it's basically all are in place. So as soon as you type y dot sort to sort the list according to the descending or ascending, then you can do this. If you want to reverse it, you can do this 1 2 3 4 5, it becomes 5 4 3 2 1. Then if I have duplicates in the list, then you can see here there are 3 threes, and if you have to count how many times a number is repeated, so simply type y dot count 3. So give out 3. If you want to remove 1 3 at a time, y dot remove and then the element name. Then if you will see here, we only have 2 3s and 1 is removed. If I further go on and remove another one, then we have only 1 left. Then I remove the one, then all the 3s are gone. So if I want to know the index of a particular element, suppose I want to know where does 1 stands, so I can just put it 1 and then simply, so 0 1 2, so it throws the index. Then if I have to so if I have to so you are going to use this command many times. This is to add an element before using element. So basically append is something you have to use. Like I can't insist enough to remember this command. Why? So if I want to append 1 to y, then I'll just type y dot append and 1, and then y dot append 3. So it will append 1 and 3. Earlier it was 4 2 1 1, and now it becomes 4 2 1 1 1 3. Then we have dictionaries as well. So how to declare a dictionary? It is declared with the curly brackets. It has a key value pair. So to add to the dictionary, you can simply type the key value pair. So whatever you want to assign the key and value to. So now I didn't declare. Yeah. So the key and value pair is declared now. If I access it, keys to value. Then we have this is basically mapping. This can be used for mapping the functions for the dictionaries, for the word dictionaries in natural language processing, and many tons of usage of dictionaries in Python. Then if I just want to simply add another key value pair, I'll just type the key here and value here, and it automatically adds up. So now you can see we have 2 key value pairs, key and value 1 2. So if I want to access the value, I'll access it like I access it in list, except I'll only type the key name itself. You cannot use the traditional indexing. Index of the value is the key of the value. So I'll go on. So you can see if I access key, it will throw out the value for that particular thing. So if I go on and access 1, then it will throw out the 2. value. Then if I have to access the items, all the items, so we have key value as a tuple, basically list of tuples. Then if you want to remove or pop out the items, so if I want to pop the item with key, I'll just simply do this, and then if I access the Z, the key is gone, so that value is gone. If I have to add again, I can do it as well. Then return, if you want to return all the keys, so Z dot keys, so it will return only the keys, not the values. And if you want to return all the values, then Z dot values, simple. And then if you have a new dictionary with new, and you want to concatenate both of the dictionaries into one, or append one to the other, then you can type Z dot update and the another dictionary's name. Now you can access it. So 1, 2, key value 2 is to 3. So this was the first element. This is using if else statement. These are quite useful. It will be used tons of time when you will be coding for data analysis. And so suppose if I want to find out that if x is divisible with 2 or not, so I can use percentage sign and I can write this code. And if I want to communicate this, so I can put it a condition like if the remainder of this is 0, then print the number itself, or else not divisible. So this is a simple application. And third we have is for and while loop. So for loop is actually quite simple. Suppose I want to print all the numbers, all the elements of x in y, so I can just simply type for numbers in y print numbers. So it is a temporary variable. I mean, you can put anything here basically, and in place of numbers anything can be placed. It acts as a temporary variable, and it will throw out the last number assigned to it. So in y, if you remember, our last element was 3, so you can see here 3, and you can only access the 3 now. And you can put anything, basically practically you can put like underscore, and it will throw out the same results. In while loop, if it's simple loop again to print, if you want to print y, elements of y, you can use it like this, that you initialize I equal to 0, then put the condition that till I is less than length of y, then it should print the index, it should print the y on that index. So because in Python index starts with 0, so we are initializing I equal to 0, and then I plus equal to 1, it basically adds up 1 to the value of I automatically when running the for loop. If you run, the output will be the same. Then two way to iterate through the list. One is direct, like you can use for x in y. Basically y is accessing it directly the numbers, so it will throw out the same results. Second, through the index. So one is like for x in range command is basically it throws out a list of or series of numbers, and it will iterate through it. So what we can do is that we can specify the length of y. We know the length of y, and it starts with 0, it will go up to the length of y, and it will so x will become the indexes basically, and we'll throw indexes here, so it will go on printing all the values in y. So the output will again be the same. Then you have range command. Just want to show you how it works. So it will create a range of numbers, a series of numbers between the two values what we throw at it. So it can be specified. You don't have to specify 0, but if you want to like what do you call it, so if you want to initialize it with something else, then if I want to throw it with 3, then it is required, so it will throw out the range from 3 to 6. Then we have, if we want to print the range, then you can do like this. If you want the bigger gaps to be inserted, so 0 to 20, but with the intervals of 4, so you can specify one digit, like what interval you want to give, and it will do it for you. The end 4 specifies the difference between each number. Then iterating through the dictionaries. print all the keys. So again, you can use anything over here. And z dot keys, as we saw, that it will return only the keys, so you can iterate through it directly. So these were the key in our dictionary. Then if you want to iterate through values, you can do that as well. Then zip is another command. I'll discuss it afterwards actually, so let's leave it now. Then enumerate is basically a counter you can initiate with the strings. So if I do this, then you can see the positions of each word in that list, and it's printing according to that. And if I want to initialize a new list, with enumerate I can do that as well. It will form tuples. Tuples are basically non-accessible pairs. You cannot change tuple. And then we have the same division program using for loop. So that division what we use, we have to check for every other element in this list. So this can be, so divisible by 2, I can make a list, and then I can run a for loop inside a list and check if that is divisible or not. And if it is divisible, then it will append the value of x basically into this list, and then we can access it. So 2, 4, 6.